All right. Thank you, Marco. It's always a big treat to listen to you talk about AI and data. And how cool are we ending the Reaktor Café stage today with Niilo and Tommi. So we're going to take you on a journey towards the delivery dilemma. All the way from steaming hot dumplings delivered to you in 20 minutes to a birthday parcel traveling across the country, delivery has actually become the invisible infrastructure of our daily lives. And behind that magic are the people building the tech that makes it actually work. And today we're really lucky to have Niilo and Tommi here with us. First, Niilo, the CTO of Wolt. He actually joined the company as the very first hires and has since grown the engineering organization from just a handful of coders into a global team of hundreds. And the team is now powering the deliveries of everything from food and groceries to retail. And next to Niilo, we have Tommi, the Vice President of Technology at Posti. And Tommi leads the digital operations of one of the world's oldest postal services, steering its transformation into a modern logistics powerhouse. And together they represent the two sides of the same dilemma: hyper-fast and personal delivery and the vast nation-spanning infrastructure of postal services. Niilo and Tommi, warm welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First, I think we could argue that your worlds couldn't be more different. Wolt has grown in less than 10 years to serve millions on a global scale. And Posti has been serving Finns for over 400 years. And now also conquering, of course, Nordics and Baltics with the portfolio of logistics services. How do you balance moving fast, growing bigger, and still keeping things human? Tommi.
Well, actually, I was thinking beforehand that what does it mean that we keep it human? And I think Howard Hughes said it pretty well, that you should be easy to work with. I think the most not human experience is when you're stuck in customer service or some self-service channel and you feel like you can't influence anything and you get like this really annoyed feeling of not being in control. So for me, it really is, it's about being easy to work with. So developing the customer channels and developing your services so that they are easy to work with, of course, externally, but then internally when we think that how do we work internally, especially for technology organization, it's really important that we are easy to work internally. So we really need, for me, it's a personal focus that there's no gap between business and technology. So when we create plans, when we create roadmaps, they are already created together from the start. So it's not like business has a workshop and vision and then they come to us and tell us, hey, this is what we would like you to do. But we are already there creating the ideas. We understand the processes, we understand the business, and we create the roadmaps together. That makes us extremely easy to work with internally. So that's, for me, it's like what's keeping it human.
And for Niilo, do you agree?
Yeah, I think it's a very similar thing. If you think of going from that one city to, I don't know, 500 cities and one country to 30, 35 countries, I think that the core of it all, like what brings us and keeps us human and keeps us what we are, is really just focusing on customers and really just focusing on like every courier, every merchant, every consumer. And that goes throughout the organization and everything we do. And that hasn't changed. Yeah. Our customers are hyper-local. They're in every city, every country. They're like in Mäntsälä, of all places, or Kouvola, or other sexy cities in Finland. And they're kind of like, their lives are still the same. Doesn't matter if we are huge, you're still serving the same customers, and winning their hearts and minds is kind of what we're here for. Also goes the same in organizational sense. I'm really with you. So in that way, I think we're very similar, actually, not that far apart.
Yeah.
So we could say that the most important thing is to keep the people at the core. And Tommi, I know that Posti is definitely not about mail anymore. It's actually a full logistics ecosystem going all the way from e-commerce to everyday deliveries. how do you keep that personal connection alive even as more and more services actually move online?
I would see almost that online capabilities, they are complementing the human encounters. So it's not really, we're delivering physical goods. At least for a few years still, there will be a lot of people doing that, and hopefully a few years more. So the AI is not taking over the world yet. So the digital capabilities there are actually creating this frictionless experience between people. So when we actually meet the customers at service points or at the handover situations, they've already had an interaction through the digital channels and had their voice heard and have been able to say their preferences, and we then just execute with a smile at the end. So really the online capabilities, they complement the human encounters instead of replacing it.
Yeah, and for Wolt, I think it's all about the online and the platforms. Do you agree with Tommi?
I mean, we started online, but we are a very physical business. The actual what customers order is that moment when they get the package at their door. It's like our service is intensely beautiful, crafted applications and all sorts of algorithmic solutions to make things efficient and delightful at scale. But in the end, the actual product we're offering is that moment when you actually get it in like 27 minutes in your door, and you kind of get what you want, be it warm or be it, I don't know, cables from Verkkokauppa kind of thing.
And a big thing I think I would add there is also that we invest quite a lot in training our employees, training especially the supervisors. I believe strongly that what they get at work is what they will give to customers. So really we've launched this caring leadership. So really training all field workers, how do we do good supervisory work, how do we care about our employees, and made a huge progress in that in the last 5 years. So that then they'll be able to give that forward to customers in turn.
Yeah, thank you. And I know this is a perfect segue to my next question. And I know that for Niilo, this is one of your favorite topics to talk about. As Wolt has gone from just a few dozen of people to thousands across the world in such a short time, it's really amazing how you and Wolt as a company have been able to keep the culture of autonomy and agency alive. How do you do it? I think we are all intrigued.
Well, I think that the kind of recipe is the same from when we started with, like, I don't know, 2 teams, and now we're at 120 teams. The tech organization alone is like, I don't know, 1,200 people or something. But it hasn't really changed. It starts from what we already discussed, which is really focusing on customers. Like starting from the fact that what you're building, we're always building for somebody else, no matter what the team is. So how we do that even today is we segment the whole organization into tiny little pieces. And those pieces, where they used to be when we were small, they were like, consumer was 10 people building everything for consumers. Now consumer is maybe 40 teams. And what you do is you go deeper into the customer experience, but you still own a specific chunk of it. For example, maybe first-time user conversion is your kind of life, and your job is to figure out what happens when they hit the application from marketing or other funnels, and how do they solve that. And so you go deeper, but you still have that chunk of ownership, and you're end-to-end capable to solve that. So the same model of what you do like startups with, where everybody is mission-driven, close to their customers, and can really decide what they need to do. So we have almost no kind of barriers to entry on what you can change. There's no corporate admin bullshittery around like what you can access and what you can change in the product, for example. If you need to change something in logistics to make first-time user experiences better, you can. You can actually just do the change yourself as a team. So you can have this agency to kind of build what you need to build and do what you need to do for your customers, even at this scale. That's been a kind of principled choice for us, and it's actually allowed us to scale really well. And it's also really great for people, because people love to feel like they can control and create meaning for their and kind of value without kind of blockers around them. And that tends to work super well.
Yeah. So all employees at Wolt are actually disruptors in the market, so that they can take anything forward. Cool.
Creative chaos.
And as Posti has been around for more than 400 years, we are talking about the journey from delivering mail by horses on horseback to all the way to using robots and smart lockers. What does speed and growth mean to you at this point of the journey?
Yeah, for us, speed is really about speed at scale, being able to take hundreds of thousands of shipments per day and process them in a few hours and actually get them to consumers, largely most consumers in Finland, for the next day. So that's really the speed at scale that we're looking at. What that means in technology side and on data side, logistics networks are actually fairly complicated to model and to optimize. So first having the data foundation in shape, and then applying, as we talked with Niilo, hardcore math on top of it. Many of you would like to call it AI. We with Niilo decided that we like hardcore math better.
100%.
So then that really enables the way we process that amount of shipments just in Finland alone. So that's what speed is for us. And for growth, now we are especially looking at replicating the same level of scale and capabilities outside of Finland. So Sweden and Baltics especially kind of the focus now, where we already operate, but we want to grow more and really achieve the same level of scale and speed also outside of Finland.
So bring back the algorithms. I think I started this conversation with stating that you are completely different, but I feel that what we have learned today, that you actually have quite many shared challenges, but maybe a bit different realities. One of you runs a hypergrowth platform built on speed and autonomy. The other serves a nation and perhaps in the future nations that is going more digital every day. Where do your challenges actually overlap and where do they clearly differ?
I don't know if they actually differ that much. I mean, we're all solving like at the fundamental core kind of a customer experience problem, but also a logistics problem. At the moment, like we also do parcels, by the way, like at Wolt. We do like, I don't know, we did 200 million parcels in the US last year. So we're doing like longer distance deliveries as well. But at the end of the day, it's like it's the same kind of problem space. At the heart of it is, in my opinion, is like a kind of how do you solve the logistics? Because the logistics solves everything for the customer experience. You want the best possible customer experience, but it's like there's no like gimmicks you can do at the edge. You can do like a nice support layer, yes. You can handle the edge case as well, but the core of it is like how do you combine that kind of that hardcore math, as you said, like the kind of the thing that's hard to solve, and that kind of operating mesh and network mesh complexity that creates you the efficiencies that you can do at scale. And how do you combine that with the customer experience to kind of really win hearts and minds? And I think that's at least for me, that seems like we have a very similar problem set we're trying to solve. We're just maybe approaching it from opposite ends, but it's the same journey.
Yeah, pretty much what I was also thinking, that we both need to provide ease and efficiency to the senders, to the receivers. If we're not easy to use, we're not going to be used. We're both tackling logistics, but like Niilo said, we are coming from different perspectives. Niilo's company is building from digital foundation and then operations around it. We are having 400 years of legacy business that we need to digitalize. So we can't just put a digital on top of the processes. The processes have been embedded throughout the years into the organization. So there's a lot of implicit knowledge. So what we actually need to do often is to take employees from production, take couriers, take people from sorting centers, and bring them into the technology teams. And that's how we kind of suck in the organizational knowledge that has been embedded there for years.
But it's the same thing, I think. If I think of what we do at Wolt, is like, for example, the courier delivery experience team, they go delivering themselves every week. Like they have to live and breathe the customer problem, and so and their customers are the couriers. So like they don't know, the engineers don't understand what are the problems. They can read a nice little spreadsheet about it, but it won't really kind of get you the nuances what you need to solve the customer problem. So listening to your users, listening to the people who actually have that tacit knowledge, gets you quite far. And it's not revolutionary, but most companies tend to kind of forget the fact that there's a lot of knowledge at the edge, and you should really use that.
So, Niilo, am I hearing you right that if I order my evening snack today from Wolt, that I might get you delivering it
for sure,
to my door?
Sure. Yes. Oh. Unfortunately, I don't get paid for it, so I have to do it pro bono. But yes, we do. Like, I think monthly I go driving around in Helsinki. Typically, it's more like if you do it in lunchtime, in central Helsinki, you might get me as a driver, or Miki, or whoever from the company. So
Fantastic. Cool to know.
That's great.
Does Posti have anything similar in place?
We do, not as systematically, but like we do go, especially during the peak season. We are asked to volunteer our help. We do get paid for it, but there's especially on the data side and on the software development side, it's really important that people understand what they're working on. For example, on warehousing processes, if they don't understand how the warehousing logic, how the operations work, then they're just moving data from one place to another and probably not doing the best solution for the problem.
And moving on to my favorite question of today, that because I know that both of your companies operate with massive amounts of data about your customers. And for companies perhaps in a similar situation, here today, could you give us some really practical advice? Maybe even a recent use case or a project where you have used data to improve your speed, scale, or maybe the human side of things. Niilo?
For sure.
Can I go first?
I can go first. I mean, yes, from the get-go when we started, we've been ridiculously data-driven. We measure everything in the company, and we kind of run, because it's a very low-margin business and it's a very hard thing to get right, especially the kind of 30-minute last-mile delivery piece. So everything is really data-driven. But the thing that happens when you're really kind of target setting and data-driving as a company, it's great because most companies aren't really, like, you have to kind of go to get that muscle and get to that point where you're really like, you think of targets over like feelings, because feelings are always wrong, and you should look at the actual kind of results of things, and kind of like intuition is great as an input metric, but it's horrible as an outcome metric. So kind of like figuring that out. But what we've learned quite a lot over the years is that kind of like when you look at averages, you look at solutions with your targets, you kind of often lose critical customer experience points, because what happens is you look at like maybe we're at 97% perfect delivery ratio, but maybe there's 0.5% of absolutely horrible 2.5-hour deliveries in there. So there's like 0.5%. So maybe there's 20,000 people who've had the worst experience of their lives using Wolt. But it's great. We're at 97.5%. We're hitting our targets. We're amazing as a company. But at the same time, we have this kind of absolutely kind of big cohort of people who hate us because they've used us and they will never use us again because they've completely churned because we suck. And I think this understanding of that you shouldn't just focus on the big metrics and the kind of bigger averages. It's great to do look at, for example, customer journeys and look at like worst case scenarios and figure out what are the kind of where the meaty bits are you can improve. Because if you improve that like 0.5%, I guarantee you're gonna get, like if you do that well, you handle that like 2 hours, give them a big refund, you hug them, you give them a free delivery, you kind of get them back on the platform, they will love you for it. So you turn them from like churning customers to something kind of really winning, for example. And that is easily forgotten when you go too deep into just having your God KPI and looking at the kind of big picture view. I think that's maybe the general thing we've kind of learned over the years. So the edge cases matter quite a lot.
That's interesting. How about Tommi?
First, I have to say that Niilo is absolutely right that averages are deceiving, and I have to compliment Wolt on exactly that use case that you mentioned. A few years back, I had some not so good experiences, and they were like really addressed effectively, and like I was so happy about it. Like really, how your company addressed those poor experiences. It was like you said, it really won me over. So I was like more like, I would not have told anybody that I made a Wolt order, but since you recovered that customer experience so well, I did tell to people that, hey, I had this great experience. I would not have said that otherwise.
And you continued ordering?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. You're welcome. Glad to help. But use case in mind from our context is that we used to be quite focused in the parcel locker network and increasing the number of lockers and doors, but it wasn't really moving the needle as much as we would have been hoping. So we built, I guess we call it an AI solution that forecasts the micro locations of which lockers are actually going to be liked by consumers. Case in point, on a map, you could put a locker somewhere and be like, well, this looks like a good location, without realizing that people hate it because they have to pay for parking. to pick up their parcel from there. So really like understanding the customer needs and behaviors and then starting to choose the locker locations based on actual data, based on like sophisticated models, we could see that the ramp up of volume into those lockers was by far better than previously, which is an indicator that people like the location. So it's not only a business metric, but it's a customer experience metric that customers clearly liked the new approach.
And before we wrap this up, I want us to look a bit to the future. For Niilo, what do you think is the next big wave for you personally or for Wolt? What gets you most excited?
I'm supposed to answer AI, but I'm not going to answer AI. AI is already here. It's robotics. That's the future. Or AI plus robotics. But I think like the thing about like our business, and I think for a lot of business, especially for marketplace business, what defines our growth is selection. So basically, and not just selection in a city, like we have 10,000 venues in a city. It's about hyper-local selection. So yourself in like Malminkartan or some small location, what can we deliver to you? And for that, like solving it with the humans is expensive and nobody wants to pay too much for the deliveries. The only way to really solve that is by blending human and robot delivery fleets. And they might be like sidewalk robots, as we have today, but they can also be like bike lane robots, like middle mile robots, and then they can be drones, which we're piloting in many, many countries. And I think kind of this sort of mixed fleet of combination of like surprisingly affordable robotics, and kind of you can use a lot of AI to kind of how you make them more efficient, but in the end it's just robotics that actually solves a lot of that. And how that's gonna come in the next, I think in a few years it's gonna become a reality in a lot of the countries, also from a regulatory point of view. I've been like looking at this space for like 6 years and waiting when can we get robots on the streets. So I'm very, very excited to see this actually happening, because it's not like it's a complementary thing. City centers will never be covered by robots. You will still need a lot of good old-fashioned human couriers, but it's really that distance. You can do longer distances faster, which means you can do like hot coffee 5 kilometers away in 5 minutes, which is going to be like an interesting thing to actually solve.
And how about Tommi? What is the next big leap for Posti?
I would say that at the moment even we are going through quite a transformation that I think is quite nice to see in second-hand commerce. So really big shifts happening in a tough market situation where we can see that there's few big players that have really managed to transform the commerce industry into more second-hand, more sustainable path. So that's been a very nice transformation to be part of. What gets me excited in the future, I mentioned already earlier, internationalization. So Posti has a long history. We've been sometimes having different, also outside of Finland, businesses, but now we're really focused in the regional logistics and being able to replicate the same success we have in Finland in other countries nearby here in the Nordics and Baltics region. That is simply the most exciting for me.
Sounds great. And of course, I'm completely biased when it comes to this, but you are two of our favorite clients. But I think we could wrap this up by saying that it doesn't really matter if you're a startup or a 400-year-old institution. The challenge is actually quite the same. Moving fast, scaling smart, and never losing sight of the people you actually serve. Thank you, Niilo. Thank you, Tommi. And thanks for everybody who listened today. And join us for some after-work drinks at 7 here at Reaktor Café. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, put it there.
Nice.
So you've got one of those this better go well or never been done before challenges and you need to solve it? Reactor it. We mean plan it, map it, sketch it, second guess and criticize it. Even the brief, especially the brief. Dream it, see it bigger, more. Not what you ask, but what you were really looking for. Let's build it, code it, load it, assess, process, redress, explode it. Test it, try it, make sure it works, make sure it scales, make sure that the critical piece never fails. Comments, feedback, got it, great. Of course we iterate, reshape it, break it, debug it, debug it, debug it, debug it. Damn it, there, wow, it's even better now. We solved it, nailed it, made it, now tease it, hype it, launch it, celebrate it. Chug it, go! Make it happen, make it famous, make it the best damn it you've ever made. Got a challenge? Reactor it.